A Tallahassee charter school principal has been forced to resign after parents complained about a 6th grade art history lesson claiming that Michelangelo's statue of David was pornographic. And they forced her to resign because this was said to be pornographic. Now, I just came back from Italy. I just went into Florence, into the great museum there. It's also a replica of this statue is standing in one of the main plazas in Florence. This is an example, Buck, of I think parents wildly overreact. We can talk about whether you should be taught about gender identity, but in an art history course to be forcing a principal to resign because they showed you one of the most famous sculptures in the history of the world, this is crazy. One of the popes, Buck, covered up, removed the penises and put fig leaves in the 19th century, I believe, because he didn't want there to be these stone penises visible in the Vatican.
That was someone's job who was probably aspiring to be Michelangelo himself.
That is a good point.
I have to chip away at the,
That is a great point. He probably went home and bragged to his parents, hey, I'm now in charge of sculptures in the Vatican City, and Mom was like, we're going to make special pasta. This is what are you going to be doing? And then he was like, well, for the next decade, I'm just chopping penises off of historic statues. That was his job. And I hope he lied to his mom and didn't tell her that was his actual job at the Vatican.
So that we know that there was a period of time where specifically the Catholic Church was opposed to this, and this is why you see. And the whole thing is quite ridiculous when you think about it, like putting a fig leaf in front of it. What is this? Who is this saving, or what is this doing? I can't imagine what these parents, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, if you go all throughout the artistic world, and I mean classical,
oh yeah,
the
of course.
The art that people generally agree is beautiful and to be elevated, not, some of the stuff that we've seen in the modern era, which I won't talk about right now. But obviously, Clay, there's little cherubs running around, not running, they're actually flying with little wings and paintings. You just got back from Italy. This is all over the place. I think these parents are wrong.
6th graders, by the way. 6th grade. We're not, whatever age. My 8-year-old's in 2nd grade noticing the exposed penises and all the artwork. This is crazy. And they forced the principal to resign? This is art history.
I think it's the most famous sculpture. You could say it's the most famous sculpture in the world. I don't
think there's any doubt about that. And I would say it's top 5 most. The Mona Lisa. I would say it's top 5 to 10 certainly pieces of art of all time.
Imagine the alternative. You're going to have an art history class for 6th graders where what are you going to do? You're going to pixelate it up on the screen, like Michelangelo's David has an OnlyFans account. This is not a good idea.
There is a wide range, I understand, of parent decisions as it pertains to what their kids can be taught. But the idea that a principal would have to resign for showing one of the most historic pieces of art in the history of the world to her art history course, this reminds me, Buck, and honestly, it kind of connects. Did you see the story? I think it was in Ohio, where there was sculpture work that was considered to be Islamophobic, I believe. And they fired the art history teacher there. It was representations in art of Muhammad.
Well, yeah, not within the Islamic tradition. You're not allowed to show anything. Which also reminds me of the South Park episode,
correct,
which you cannot find anymore, where there was Muhammad, but he was in a bear costume.
Yes,
so they weren't actually showing Muhammad. They were showing a bear costume with Muhammad.
Just brilliant.
Muhammad inside.
It's brilliant. But this was, there are artistic representations of Muhammad from the 14, 15, 1600s that are pieces of art that are very famous and so the professor of art history, this is in college, showed her kids that photo, and a person who was of Muslim faith in the course said it was Islamophobic, and they fired the art history teacher in college. And then there was such a blowback that they ended up apologizing and bringing her back. But this is, to me, part and parcel of the censorious culture in which we live in, where even objects of great historic relevancy are considered to be offensive. And so, can you imagine being that principal? To get fired over this?
this is crazy. If there's no other context we don't know about, I mean, this is crazy. And I would say, because to think about this, what are the implications of this if this were to be the new policy that if you show, we're not talking about showing, pornographic material to kids. Democrats seem to always be defending the books that are very pornographic, et cetera, for small children. This is about the greatest works of art in the Western tradition. And if you can be fired for that, we're definitely losing something very precious in our society. And I sit here and I wonder what has to be done here to get the message to folks that this is not a good idea.
I know. And the reason why I brought it up was because Allie said it ties in with what I had put up about my second grader when we were literally talking about this ourselves over in Italy. I've got a sixth grader too. I can't imagine being upset if he were shown this. I mean, I can understand being a teacher and being like, hey, I don't want to show anybody naked in a sixth grade art class because the kids are going to kind of laugh and like everything else. But
there's also the point of intent here. No one shows a statue of David to be lascivious or to be, it's just there's no intention here to do anything to pollute the minds. Gosh, it's like this is like Socrates, pollute the minds of the youth. I mean, this is crazy.